right, y'all, good morning. Today we are still participating in the 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. Today is day 14. I have skipped a couple of days because I've been a little bit busy with some other things, but this sketch really caught my eye, and I may end up doing 2 layouts with this because I have a couple of different ideas, but I'm gonna take a shot at something that's going to deviate from this sketch but is inspired in part by this sketch. So we're gonna take a look at it, and this one's created by Alison Krogsgaard, and it's really, I love it because first of all it looks like lemons and I have a thing with lemons. I love anything that has to do with lemons, all the lemon kits, all of that stuff. So that's the first thing that came to mind was lemons, even though it's not necessarily lemons, but that's the first thing I thought of. And then it also looks like those viewfinders, and I'm also really drawn to that. So I don't normally do circular. So I feel like this is a pretty cool challenge, and I would like to take advantage of something similar to that. So in the sketch, like I said, it has almost all circular elements. It has the 3 larger circular elements, 1 circular photo, and then a few smaller circular elements scattered throughout, a nice big title, and then they have some clouds, or just it could be just any kind of ephemera clusters, and then some word strips here. So this is a really cool jumping off point for the idea I have in my mind, which is in part inspired by this, and then in part inspired by the cover of my daughter's orchestra concert pamphlet here that we got the other night. And I just loved this so much when I looked at it, and then I looked at this and I thought, I wonder if I could combine the two. I don't know if this is gonna work, guys, and so if this video doesn't see the light of day, it means it didn't work. But my idea is to go with the circular elements, but also go along with the music theme. So I've actually, this is a picture of my daughter before her concert, so I am going to try to cut this in a circular, a circle, so that we just are focused on her here. This is just her standing outside of the auditorium before we went in for her concert. And I've actually dug deep into my stash and pulled out some papers from some very old paper stacks that I have. So this was from a Die Cuts with a View paper stack called All Dressed Up, and see how it's really sparkly and pretty. I just think that this would like give a little pizzazz to the layout. So I'm going to maybe use this. I also have, this is from another Die Cuts with a View paper stack, and it was called Rockstar. And I loved the sparkly stars here. So this is foiled, and then this one of course has glitter on that. And then I just have a piece of white basil textured cardstock, and also a piece of black basil cardstock, textured cardstock. And you can see I already did a cut out with this on my Cricut. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to accomplish all of this. So, and I don't have any ephemera picked out whatsoever at this point. Normally I have kind of an idea. I have no clue. And so as we go, I guess I will be picking things out. But I'm gonna start with, I think, basically the white cardstock and this cut file. And I'm gonna go from there and try to create something similar to this. So wish me luck, and I will be back with that process, and hopefully it isn't 5 hours long, because I feel like this could get that way. So I'll see you back here in a little bit once I kind of get my mind wrapped around how I want to accomplish this, and yeah, once I get started. So I'll see you back here. All right, y'all, like I said, this is only going to be very loosely inspired by this sketch. A lot more so inspired by this. So this is what I've done so far, and after this I will cut away and you can just watch me try to figure out how to do this. So I've gone ahead and I just traced my cut file here. I am going to put the pieces of the cut file onto this, but at this point for now I just have it traced onto the page, and I've kind of traced the little swirly lines on here. I'm going to attempt to paint these on here, so wish me luck, because I do not know how that is going to turn out. But I think honestly, like, the more abstract and the little bit messier the better for this, because I just kind of want the idea of the musical stuff in the background, and then like I'm going to use the photo, and then like these are going to be much smaller circles on the page than what are in the sketch. So let me go ahead with that. I did cut this down to 11.5 by 11.5, so I can mat it with one of my papers. I'm not sure which one yet. I will figure that out as we go. So wish me luck. I'll see you back in a minute. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to paint these lines onto the back of the page, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this or make this look halfway decent, so I decided to go ahead and try it with just my shimmers. I'd contemplated using just some acrylic paint, but I really like my shimmers, and I kind of wanted the little glimmery shimmery thing that will shine that will come from using shimmers. So I decided to give it a shot and see if it would work, and I was pretty pleased with how it turned out. Now that I look back at the page, I almost wish I would have went a little messier than what I do, just to kind of make it a little more abstract than it is, but I'm pretty pleased with it. I hope you guys will like it too once you see it done. I tried to kind of copy the design just a little bit that was on my daughter's program there, with just kind of like the thicker areas and a little more flourish to each end of the lines here. I do know my music, but I cannot, because I was in band for like 7 years, but I cannot remember the name of anything right now, so please excuse me for not using the right terminology for music. I held up there just a second ago that I used I Love You Onyxly for the black color, and what I am painting, just kind of, I want it to stick out from the edges behind the cut file, so I'm using No One's Chrome, and both of these are Inklings from Shimmers Paints. And like I said, I just kind of want, there we go, like an outline that's going to kind of be behind my cut file there. I really liked how it looks once I get it on there. I'm also going to go ahead and add some splatters to the back, first using No One's Chrome, and then I'm going to go back in with the I Love You Onyxly and get a little bit of both colors of splatters here on the background. Again, like I said, I do kind of wish I'd been a little messier with those lines there. I think you'll see what I mean when I get done about why I wish I would have done that, but I am pretty happy with it in the long run. And it did, you know, mimic what was on that program, and I'm really happy with that. I was really, really drawn to that design, and then when I saw this sketch, I thought, I'm going to try and combine them. So we'll see what you guys think. Here I'm just using some of my black soot distress oxides to just kind of color the edges a little bit, just so it's not just like that really stark white. It tends to help it bleed into the star, which I decided to use for the matte. I did gut it because I am going to use it elsewhere on the page. So I did go ahead and gut that, and I'm going to use the stars foiled background there for my matte. And I'm going to go ahead and tear a couple of places on here just because I wanted to. No particular reason other than I just like it and felt like I didn't want it to look so perfect around the edges. Even though I did scuff it up, I still wanted a little bit more distressing going on along the sides. So sometimes I like to tear the edges. And I just put those heavy bottles on top to kind of hold it down while the glue was drying, just so that they don't uncurl at some point. All right, so I'm going ahead and I have placed the cut file. It's all glued down, and now I'm going to take some blings in high-ho silver, and I'm just going to highlight a few areas here along the cut file, just to kind of, I don't know, draw your eye over to the cut file. And I'll be doing some other really fun things to draw your eye as well. And also with the high-ho silver, I'm going to go ahead and make a few music notes on here. This part I kind of wish I wouldn't have done. Now that I'm finished, I don't hate it, but I also don't love it, and I think it would have been perfectly fine without these notes. Honestly, I cover up a few of them, just because in the end I didn't quite love them, but that's okay. Sometimes we don't really know. There's a couple of things on this layout that I'm like, I kind of wish I wouldn't have done that, but we never know until we give it a shot, and sometimes we don't love what we did, but we don't really mind it. And this is kind of the case for me there with the notes. I did go ahead and went back and outlined them with a black marker, and just to kind of make them stand out a little bit. I did try to kind of flourish them a bit, give them little curved stems. I guess that's what I'll call them, stems. And I did do a couple of different kinds of notes there on there, just to kind of give a little variation. I did use that program pretty heavily for my inspiration, and just kind of looked at it here and there at things I was adding to see how I felt about it and what I wanted to put in there. And so those notes were on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mat my photo. I'm going to mat it with both the stars and the striped glitter paper I showed you guys earlier. I do cut ahead on this so you don't have to watch me do all of it. I go ahead and I cut out the circular shape, and then I do go and scuff up the edges. This was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. First of all, because it was in a circle, and for some reason I could not coordinate my hands with my brain of how I wanted to scuff up that circle. So that was odd. And then also this glitter paper especially was really, really hard to scuff up. So I ended up using my scissors on this one when I scuffed this outside, because it's very thick, and on the areas where the actual glitter is, it doesn't want to scuff very well. So I did go ahead and do that, and I just used the side of my scissors. You just saw me put my scissors down. I was all done, and now I've got to fix a few things, because the picture of my daughter is not a perfect circle. I'm just going to admit that right now. I just traced around something and cut that out. I don't have any circle dies or punches big enough for a photo, so I just kind of did the best I could there. Here I am using my 1 3/4 and my, 1 3/8, I think it is, and then 1 1/4 circle punches, and I'm just cutting out 3 of each size of each pattern paper, and I'm going to use these to embellish my page. I know it sounds weird, but I kind of just really wanted to stick to the circles, and nothing else really seemed like it was what I wanted. So I went ahead and I kind of kept it circles. I will bring in a few of the stars here in a minute. You'll see me have those that I cut out of the paper. But really, I just really embellished with circles on this page. And I'll show you in a minute how I went about trying to recreate what was in the sketch, because obviously these little circles were not in the sketch. They had bigger circles. I will show y'all what I did for that in just a moment. Here I'm just kind of placing where I think I might want those circles. And then right here I have everything removed, and here's what I did to kind of mimic those bigger circles that you can see there in the sketch that kind of followed along. The reason I did the open circles was because I didn't want to hide any of the pretty stuff in the background. I just wanted to show as much of it as possible, so I decided to just cut out some open circles on my Cricut and place them behind, which kind of gives that same idea of what was in the sketch with the big circles. So I cheated a little bit, but I'm really, really happy with how it looks. I'm really happy how the musical bit shows off in the background, and how I can still use all of those smaller circles with the pattern paper to kind of accent everything. I just really love how it turned out. I just really think it's so pretty and sparkly and kind of whimsical at the same time. And I just really like it. I'm really, really glad I decided to just use the paper and not even go into really much of my embellishments. You'll see here, I really didn't. I just used the pattern papers I had and the circular theme and went with it. So I messed around over here with those two because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted them to mimic the other side, you know, be in the same area, or if I wanted them to be a little different. They do end up being pretty close, but just up a little higher than the circles on the other side. But they're pretty much doing the same kind of design over there. A little bit of symmetry is okay. So I decided, you know, just to make it work. So there I have all of my circles in place, and I'm going to go ahead and put my photo down. I did put it up, as you could see, on some foam strips, but then I remembered I did gesso this, so I went ahead and put some glue too to kind of help those foam strips stick down better. And there I got a little bit of glue on her dress, so you can see me wiping it off. This was kind of a messy layout with all of the mixed media and with all of the glue I was using, the wet glue, to put it on top of the gessoed parts. So I tended to make a little bit of a mess. So here are the stars that I just cut out of the foiled star matte background that I have there around the whole piece. And I just cut out about 6 stars, and I think I might leave this whole part in. I don't remember if I did as I placed the stars, because honestly, I don't have that much by way of ephemera. And I wanted you to see the clusters that I'm making, which are basically those circles and the stars. So on some of them, I did put a little bit of foam on one end so that, you know, because it kind of, one part would rest on the circles and one part would rest on the background of the paper. So I did need to kind of make that a little bit more level so they, you know, sat there better. And I did glue some of the stars straight to the background, and then some of them, like I said, I did put up on adhesive foam. So it does give a little bit of dimension. And of course that foil, it shines, and, you know, again, and then the glitter paper glitters, and the shimmers has like a shimmery shine to it. And it's just, there's a lot going on with different textures and different shimmery and shiny bits and glittery bits. And it's just a really cool and eye-pleasing page by the time I finish with it. Okay, so there is my title. I decided on Music Flows in You. I took the silver alphabet from Wish Season from Hip Kit Club, and the black alphabet from Felicity Jane in their Amanda line. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put this along the empty space in the bottom there, right about where I have that, my T-square ruler. I'll show you me placing the first couple, and then I will skip ahead so you don't have to watch me fuss. A few letters I did have to put up partially on foam because they were sitting on some of the embellishments there, and so they needed a little bit of help. Okay, so this is part of the part where I'm kind of like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. So I was trying to fill in the bottom, and I thought of putting in just kind of like a little flourish thing down on the bottom design. And well, I ended up not really liking it, but unfortunately, because I gessoed the page, it wasn't allowing me to erase my pencil marks. So I had to come up with something else. So I decided to add a little bit of journaling. So I made a couple of fishtail banners here, and I layered it with the different papers, and then I put a white piece of basil cardstock in the center just from some leftovers. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do a little bit of journaling, just saying, you know, what concert we were at and writing the year down, just so that we kind of have this record of when this is, in case she decides to be in orchestra for all of high school. She has been all of junior high, and now this is her freshman year, and she is still in orchestra. So I wanted to record that this was freshman year. And then you'll see that I do still have a bit of that little design flourish I did on the other side, and I couldn't erase it. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to put these little crystals. I'm just going to go with it. Again, do I wish I wouldn't have done it? Yes, but because it was there and I couldn't really cover it up, I decided to just make the best of it, and I put some little black crystals on there. I don't hate it. It goes along with, you know, the lines up on the top that are part of the music bars, so I'm fine with it. I decided to go ahead and put some more of the crystals on. These ones look like little diamonds, and so I went along a few of those areas where I added the highlights on the cut file, and then I also decide to go ahead and put some what am I going to show you? Okay, I put some along the circles that have the stars, just like 3 here, 3 there, almost like little highlights on those two, just like I did on the cut file. So I do that on all 3 of the circles that have the stars on them. I do not put it on the ones that have the glitter because they probably wouldn't have stuck anyway. So I went ahead and I did that. And then I think is now, okay, I'm finishing up putting it on the little circles here. I do use these several other places. This is a very sparkly and girly layout, which is funny because my daughter is anything but girly, but this layout really does end up pretty. I go ahead and I put 3 of the little crystals along the top right hand side of the journaling. I also do it along the bottom left hand side of the journaling, which I'll skip ahead. And then I'm going to place them just in random other places in sets of 3, kind of like I would with enamel dots, but I'm just using the little crystals instead. I used a lot of the little ones that look like diamonds. Luckily I have more, and these crystals are from Sorrento Crafts. Actually, my mom ordered these for me and sent them to me. I think she just got them from Amazon, but I could be wrong. It was a great big pack, like you can see there, with a whole bunch of different colors on it. And this is the first time I've actually pulled them out. I always just forget that I have them. So I'm really glad I remembered I had them for this particular layout, because I think it really adds something to it. I think it turned out really cute in the end. So I'm just about done. I think this is the last area that I'm going to put any jewels, and then that, my friends, I believe will lead us up to the slowdown and the close-ups so you can see a little bit better. There I was shaking to make sure nothing was loose. And yep, here we go. So here's the slowdown, and you can see I do also have some smudges up there that I don't love, but you know what? It is what it is, and I really don't mind it in the end. There you can see the little sparkle from the jewels, the shine from the Shimmers paints, all the glittery paper and the foiled paper. It just turned out so pretty, and I'm really, really pleased with it. I love the messy look behind the cut file too. I really kind of wish I had that everywhere behind all the lines. Here is the photo. I don't know what all those shadows are on this photo, so I'm gonna have to retake it to share on Instagram, but those are not actually there, although they look pretty cool and I kind of wish they were. So please make sure that you click the hashtag so that you can go and see everybody else who is participating in this challenge. I hope you enjoyed this layout, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.